Yeah, so how is AI security in China?
So because I work for Changhong, and then Changhong has, so it's kind of a company which sells the electronic products like TV, air conditioner, like so many electronic stuff. So our job on a daily basis is more like making sure the devices people use are safe, and the information is safe, because right now nowadays people, they're more interested in how their data is being managed and is being kept, is being transferred to other people, right? So, for example, right now there are some like zero trust architecture, like it's kind of a new trend, and then also decentralized identifier, DIDs,
I don't know.
it's like in the near future we will not be need to log in using our Google account.
Yeah.
So because your login information is being managed by them, not you, So like if they want, they can block you from their platform, right? But nowadays the future is more like you can have your own digital passport, and then you can use it to log into any platform. So they cannot control your login information. You can only use it to log in, and then it's more like decentralized identifier.
How do you get that? Is it like you make it yourself, or is there a company that helps you to get that?
It's gonna be like digital passport. Like how you have your passport, right? To get your passport, you need to go to the government official. They make it for you, and then they give it to you, and then you can use it to travel anywhere, right? But to travel, they need to verify whether it's right. So this is gonna be like the digital type of passport, right? Which is given by like maybe a government or an institution, right? And then it's gonna give it to you as the digital identity, right? And then when you are using it, it's gonna be verified. So the people who want to use it, they can verify it somewhere. So it's gonna be like the ID, like the DID, the digital identity kind of, yeah. So it's more like government, and then it's more like having a digital passport, yeah.
Yeah, it's like an ID card. Because we have this in Dubai. It's like a UAE pass. So on any government service, you can verify on the app.
Uh-huh.
It's basically
So
like that.
it's a digital passport. It's kind of digital identity, right?
Yeah, it's called the UAE pass, and you just need to do the PIN code on your phone, and you can use any service or any government app. It's quite modern here. It's quite digital.
Exactly. So this is now Microsoft and Google, they're trying to make it global so that everybody can use it. Yeah.
Mm. And how do you see AI developing? We've had a huge wave of interest now with ChatGPT.
You know. So something funny, interesting, Elon Musk said, so GPT, right? So for me, from my point of view, like I think GPT is more like overrated, because there's so many people talking about it, and it kind of impresses people in the way, right? But if you look more, Musk talked about it. He said like it's gonna be like it's gonna create rubbish content. It's gonna, how to say, like, because whenever you are just using it, it creates content, right? And then this content will be too much that it's gonna take over all the contents we have, right? And then this can be used in a different way. For example, let me tell you something. Like, because the search engine, they are being affected by the content we have, right? So can you imagine how many contents GPT is creating over time, right? So it's gonna be like too much content, which is gonna overload all the other contents, and then the people, they're gonna rely on the information generated by GPT, and then it's just a language model, it's not someone who is creating it. So like sometimes you don't even have that much control over whether it's creating the right content or not. It's like it's kind of reasoning by itself and creating content. So it's gonna be creating too much content, and it's gonna take over everything. And then one day the internet will be full of GPT content only, no people content. Imagine. So you see, it's gonna be like we are just relying on a language model content, which is a bit strange, but we will see how it goes. And yeah, the AI is going far now.
Mm.
It's really going far.
Yeah, because it's going to create so much content that instead of, well, maybe Google is just going to be full of this content. When you search, you're just going to find it. So then it's going to be interesting, because it may just be better just to go to ChatGPT directly or one of these apps instead of searching Google.
Exactly. It's gonna be a really business It's a business. And then something funny, people, they trust it. They don't understand that it's a language model, right? So you don't have to rely on it like 100% because it's a language model, right? But some people who doesn't understand this language model like architecture, they just believe it, like blindly believe it. And sometimes I think it's not really right to rely your full information on GPT because it's still improving. It's not yet that really smart.
Yeah, it's hallucinating, wasn't it? Creating stuff.
So yeah, it's creating much stuff, and then some people, they're so afraid. And even the GPT people, like the people who created it, they are not really sure what's gonna be the near outcome because they are still exploring.
What do you think about? You say that it's not. Do you think it's overhyped in some way compared to other
It's
things?
overrated, yeah. Because it's more like an agenda in a way. It's more like because it's from it's from big companies, right? So big companies, they have a way of making something really, yeah, it's overhyped. So many people, they're talking about it. So many people, they're just using it, and so many people, they're like making it improve so fast, creating content, you see, and it's really fast paced, and it's a little bit strange in a way. It's so fast paced. And it does not mean it's that smart because, I mean, it's smart because it gives you something impressing, right? But from my point of view, like I have tested it with some stuffs to check how it reasons about stuff. And then for me, I feel like it's still a language model. It's not yet that to be really like used by people and then be trusted by people in a way. Yeah. I feel like it still needs some lots of management. Yeah. It's more, I don't know. Yeah.
Do you use anything like that? Do you use ChatGPT for yourself, or do you use any other tools like that?
I tried GPT. I use it to create my own like song lyrics sometimes. Like sometimes I'm lazy to write my music or something. I just put there and then it gives me music and stuff. But I have never used it for something serious because I prefer Google, because Google, I can find the references, I can find where the information is from, I can get tangible information. So for me, I would say I prefer Google rather than GPT. So Google is more easier for me. But nowadays, when you check on Google, you find so many things from GPT, you know what I mean? So there is not that information. Before, on Google, you could see so many things, which is from people, right? But nowadays, if you check on Google, you find like GPT contents, like people who posted it, whatever. So it's like,
Yeah.
so for me, yeah.
I wonder if they're going to say you can choose to have human content or computer content. You can have the choice, but it's not very clear, is it? Because sometimes it's mixed and sometimes you can't tell.
Definitely. For example, I tried to ask ChatGPT like hello, how can I be a security engineer, right? GPT listed like like a lot of information like, hey, you need to do this, you need to do this. Like for me, I think it's not that really efficient because it didn't even ask me whether I'm even like ChatGPT, it's more into replying to you. It's not more into trying to understand me as a person, right? It's more like, how can I do this? Proof, give you information, right? It doesn't say like, so like when we did the Marco Polo, right? It's more like you need to ask question first to understand this person in order to give the reply, right? But GPT, it's more like most of the times if you ask, the first thing it does is replying to you, giving you the information, right? Like giving you whatever the information you did ask, but it doesn't go to the step like, hey, okay, have you studied any C? Have you studied any programming? Trying to take you like somewhere by learning from you. So I feel like it's all like, yeah.
Yeah, that's maybe, but I wonder if that's hard to make. Maybe it's not too hard. It's like in the future someone could do that. It depends on the use case, doesn't it? Because sometimes people just want an answer, but in the future you'll be able to search the internet and ask people questions and maybe access like 1,000 APIs. It'll be able to do that. But what do you think about in China? Because this is a US company, how is it in China? And how do you think China's AI compares to US?
So right now, Baidu have their new chip, like their new GPT like type of, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then so when I think about, so in China, people they're more like into executing whenever it comes to AI, right? So they do stuff, and then they more like focus on doing stuff for people, right? It's more like doing AI for people in a way, right? For like improving the country. But I feel like in the US, it's more like some people use AI for politics, for so many things. Like for like in the US, like AI is more like the application of AI is more into sometimes rich people predicting markets, so many things, right? But like in China, it's more like how can we use AI to help people, like live the normal life, right? You see so many things is kind of AI in China. Like even they make like each and every product is literally AI if you think about it. Like there's so many AI based applications in China. And like in the US it's kind of a bit different. It's more, yeah, I feel like China is more into how can we bring this AI to people, for normal people to use,
Yeah, it's quite a different culture, isn't it? The whole
Yeah,
tech
like
ecosystem.
you see some grandpa, like in China, he's like writing the characters, like the
Mm.
characters from the phone. This is AI because the AI can convert from what's written from this. And this is in small phones people use, it's like, it's not really some special technology, but it uses AI, right? So you bring it to people, like people from the lower class level to even use it, which is really super impressive. Yeah.
It's really interesting that the whole tech economy is completely different in China and US. It's completely divided, isn't it?
It's really different. Yeah. Really
It's had,
different.
it has like a really different structure. Like the types of companies are different. Like WeChat versus Instagram
Yeah.
versus WhatsApp.
Wow. WeChat is huge. Payments, everything. Like,
Yeah, it's amazing that there's not really a payments app like WeChat and Alipay. It's like very different. There's just in the
right.
West.
How's the sense?
Well, it's just Apple Pay, but that's similar, but it's kind of different, right? What do you think about building a chatbot? Like, well, how things is going to change now that we have more and more AI? How do you see like customer service seems like one of the early things that people are going to use ChatGPT for, or all these kind of tools? Do you think that they work well as chatbots, and how do you use AI in customer service?
So my point of using this chat, like these conversational AI tools, my point of view is like, how can you use these AI tools to understand what the human needs, right? So it's more like understanding what the person needs from this AI, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like I feel like in the future, people like these AI tools will be able to learn like how to understand human behavior in a way of conversation, right? And it's gonna have some emotions also, because for example, GPT doesn't have emotions. It's more like a robot. It gives you information, right? Like, hey, do this, do this. So like I feel like, and then in a way to build chatbot. So you did ask me two questions, right? It's kind of a big question, which is into small questions. Yeah. Now I'm trying to. You did ask me first, how do I see the future starting from like GPT chatbots and stuff, right?
Mm. Yeah, I'm like,
So
yeah.
yeah, like I feel like it's kind of the same thing. Like the chatbots needs to improve a lot. Like it needs to be improved a lot because nowadays they focus on giving the answer to someone, right? Like giving you the reply. This is the most they care more about. So I feel like in the future it's gonna be like more about understanding you and then being your assistant or being your therapist or being like your friend, right? Like suppose, can you imagine having GPT like as your friend? Maybe just you can talk about like, hey, how are you? How did you spend your day? And then it talks with you, and then it does understand your mental health in a way, Like you can use AI like chatbots for people to understand then like the mental health. They like you can kind of do business consultants, with someone. You be like, hey, which business do you want to open? And then you can give some kind of a really good advices, so it's going to be like more use cases which people use in the daily life. Like people have like the consultant, people have therapists, right? And then these are the people, right? In the future, they're gonna be like bots, which can sense emotion, which can sense like the anxiety, which can sense depression from what you say, and it's gonna be into healthcare, business, like in like even politics, like everything. And then so like I think that's where I see chatbots going from here.
So
Nowadays,
people making, like, for each industry, people making a really good chatbot, like for healthcare, like for education, they're all different. I did see one app. I was on the App Store, which is like a virtual girlfriend or boyfriend app, and
really,
I think it uses ChatGPT, and people are just like chatting, and it's I find that really strange. But there's like lots of reviews about it of people saying it's like really helped them with loneliness. I don't know how well it works as an app, but it's an interesting feature.
it's really interesting because the metaverse, they are creating the virtual type of people in a way, right?
Yeah.
And these people sometimes they can have like they're trying to bring back the people who died. They can take his behavior and then like predict how he's gonna behave in the near future. And then you can talk to your lost ones one day, or via via the metaverse. You can talk like the same voice he had, the same thinking and stuff. So it's gonna be really, it's gonna bring life to so many things we never had before, and it's gonna kill so many jobs.
Which how do you think it's going to impact the workforce, the jobs?
I think AI will not replace people, right? No. And then I think people, they don't have to compete with AI, because AI is just the assistant for us to do the work, right? But what I mean is like the people who don't really work so hard, or like the people who doesn't know how to use these tools, they will be left behind, because like this AI thing will be something we have to use, not replacing us, right? So I feel like if you don't understand how this AI like things work and how you can use it for yourself, you're gonna be left behind, and you can be really left behind nowadays without AI. Like now everything is AI. If you don't have AI in your daily life, in your daily business, it's gonna be really messed up. So I feel like everybody will need to know this AI stuff and how it works, and then they're gonna learn how to use it for their own efficiency. So everybody will need to use this. If not, have that left behind. Yeah.
Yeah, I was reading that it's likely that everyone is going to be, instead of AI taking jobs, it's going to be AI. It's going to be humans who use AI is going to take jobs of people who don't use it, and then it's just going to be people and AI versus people and AI. At the moment, it's people and AI using a little bit of AI, but then over time, the amount of AI will increase, and the amount of human will decrease.
Yeah, but I don't know why I feel like AI will never surpass human beings, because AI is being trained by people, and then people, they can stop it if they want. It's just a model. It's not like it's not like the UFOs which is running from somewhere. It's a model which is running on the server, right? So whatever it does, it's based on human understanding, right? So which means it's like humans imitating or like creating themselves in a machine, right? But still, it's gonna be like still behind human beings who uses it, because the person who uses it or who created it understand it much better than other people. So those people who created it, they're gonna still be on top.
You think people understand how it works? Because I'm wondering if you can understand how the model works, but how, because AI sees so many patterns of what's going on, that so many variables is taken into account. It's really hard to understand how it makes decisions, which is one of the scary things, isn't it? Because it's really hard to understand.
So it's actually not hard because it uses some mathematical proven formulas, it's all math, right? So that's why I say it. The more you go deep into, so like I saw something about like the Unpack AI, like I was following some of their like lectures, how they teach people how to use the used models to do their own stuff, right? So whenever you create your own project like that, you don't really understand how AI works, right? So you are just reusing the models, and then you kind of understand the high level understanding of like, you're gonna use this data set to predict this. You can tune the parameters and then have high accuracy, right? But like the more you go in deep, like the mathematical formulas, the it like everything has proofs. It has how it passes here, how it goes here. So I feel like people who goes deeper into AI, into understanding these formulas, this mathematical understanding, they can understand how it works from the basics, from zero. The more you go there, the more you understand that it has been created by human beings, so it can never be on top of the people who created it. It's like we are the creators of AI, right? So you can control it in any way. So I feel like it will never exceed human who created it. I mean, it's gonna exceed some people, but not the people who created it or people who understand it much from the bottom.
What do you think about if the AI was able to get smarter, and then if it was able to connect to the internet, access websites, create APIs? Do you think there's a danger that it could just be free and then it can never be stopped?
Okay, first of all, I think you can stop AI model. You can stop it, right? Because it's on the physical network. Like it's a server, it's a PC, it's kind of running on some physical device, right? And then the internet is based on some physical stuff. So if you're gonna break it, you can even turn off the machine.
But could it
Turn off the machine.
It could just back up. It could just email to someone and say, wire some money to someone and say, please set up a backup device, and then they will make 100 or 1,000 copies in different locations.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. This can happen, but I feel like it's still a mathematical formula people created to process data, to do some stuff, right? Unless someone choose to create something like this, right? Maybe what can be a dangerous thing, it's not AI creating its own dangerous side. It's some people who can use AI to do something strange. Like the AI cannot itself do something which is not predicted in a way because it has been trained, it has been biased, it has been proven in a mathematical way, right? But someone can come up with something which can change the whole AI perspective, right? But it's still based on people. People, they're the ones who can do some real like really bad stuff, not AI. AI is just, okay, for me, I like to say AI is just innocent. It's just a model which stands there, which can be changed, which can be affected. It can do good, it can do bad, but you can use it in any way you want to do, right? People use AI to hack. For example, it's so easy to hack with AI rather than having like 10 people hacking one PC. You can use AI, you can hack millions of people in a second.
Yeah, it could just use like brute force or something like that.
Yeah, you see. So it's like, and then AI can hack much better than people. So it's like, I think AI will still be controlled by people if there is no thing which happened.
Yeah.
But I feel like AI is not really that dangerous. Like the UFOs, like conspiracy theories. No, it's mathematical formulas and yeah.
Yeah, because you say that an AI is like, it doesn't have any kind of motivation unless you program it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Imagine if someone was like, this AI is programmed to help make people better when they contact us, and then it might reason that the way to make people better is to take over the world
Yeah,
and then manage.
exactly. Yeah, which means taking over the world. It's kind of people-based understanding, the AI, it does reason like people. It does, people, they create what they are, So actually AI can tell you how people think, how people reason, how people, live, It's kind of the cloned people, cloned human being kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
In a way, yeah.
It's amazing future. It's going to be interesting, isn't it? I heard people say that it's going to accelerate now. It's going to get faster and faster because if you see chat, how fast they're releasing all these new things.
It's really so fast. And then there's so many competition. They just wanna tell, hey, we are the best. Hey, we are the best. Hey, we can go, like, we can do this. Hey, we can do this, So it's gonna be a really interesting future with AI tools. Elon Musk, he said we're gonna have so many rubbish contents in the future so that even education will be questionable. Like, you don't even know where the information is coming from. You just have the information, so it's gonna be fake created contents and stuff. And yeah, it's gonna be really, this generative AI will create so much things on internet. And it's gonna be really hard to control this.
Yeah.
Or like to classify,
That's going to be a big problem, isn't it, to solve?
Yeah, because right now there is a big problem of how can you detect content from GPT? Like, how can you classify contents created by GPT from content created by human beings,
Right.
Because it's going to be really serious. Imagine you will not be able to differentiate human being created content from GPT, Can you imagine? It's going to be like, you don't even know whether this is written by a human being or not. But now there's some papers which kind of which can predict whether this is from GPT or this is not from GPT. Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine if I told you that I was AI. I'm not rich.
You see.
I remember having some calls in China where they call you and it sounds really realistic, and it's actually it's not a real person. It's some kind of recording, and you can just tell by it sounds exactly like a person. You can just tell by it takes a little bit longer to reply, and if you interrupt it, it doesn't respond properly.
Exactly.
It's interesting.
Have like so many things,
Cool.
so many rubbish on internet.
Is there anything else you want to say?
My goodness. So something I can say is like people, they don't have to be afraid of AI. People, they don't have to kind of think AI as like some supernatural thing, It's just what people created for us to use, right? So we need to use it for good, for our own efficiency, for our own good, right? And then also we need to learn how it works, the high level basic understanding, and then make sure we can keep on the pace, keep following up on the trends, make sure we are updated. And yeah, the future is gonna be fun with AI.
Cool. Thanks, Brad. Good to chat.
Okay, great. Have a great afternoon.
You too. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.